Another set of primaries this week as primary season is beginning to wind down. In Florida, our next guest beat out 7 other candidates for his Republican nomination to Congress.
It is excellent to be sitting here today, and for the first time, I can say I am the Republican nominee to go to the House, fire Pelosi, impeach Biden, clean the House, secure our borders, and make America great again.
Cory Mills there, fresh off his win. He shared the stage with Governor Ron DeSantis and Florida Senator Marco Rubio for the Freedom Tour stop in Geneva, Florida. Now, with the country fed up with Sleepy Joe and his never-ending failed policies, Mills is banking on being part of the red tsunami sweeping the country and riding it into the midterms this November. He will face Democrat Karen Green, who won her own primary over 3 challengers. Well, joining us now is U.S. Army veteran and CEO and founder of Packham Solutions, Cory Mills. Cory, thanks so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Cory, you won your seat, as I said, over 7 competitors for this new congressional seat in Florida's 7th district. It's got to feel great. But Democrats, they're starting to have some increased confidence, as a string of wins, they say, for Joe Biden. They think they're going to build momentum with the pro-choice movement. How do you keep your momentum going through November?
Well, I'll tell you, I just do the opposite of whatever Joe Biden does. That's how we keep our momentum. I mean, look, with the momentum that Joe Biden tries to claim is where he's trying to buy votes with this relief on, debts for the school loans and things like this. But look, people are awake, not woke in the Republican Party. We now understand the significant importance of securing our borders, getting back to energy independence and stopping the reliance upon China and Russia and our adversarial nations, ridding our schools and our military of critical race theory and the 1619 Project, and building back the morale that, we've got 12 to 15,000 deficit in our recruitment, as you know, which is an entire United States Army regiment. But, going further than that, it's also just keeping government out of our day-to-day lives, stopping the government overreach, looking at federal overreach and violations of state and individual rights, building our economy once again, and holding people accountable. Because I just watched your previous segment, as you know. I went over and actually helped to conduct one of the first rescues of Americans out of Afghanistan. And I'll tell you right now that those 13 Gold Star families, we are not done looking into this. We will hold those accountable. We will launch investigations. I have talked to Congressman Waltz and many others. We will get those who are responsible for this death that could have been preventable, and we will make sure that those who actually made these decisions have to come before us and testify.
Cory, so when you ride that red wave into Washington in November, what is your number one priority when you get to the swamp?
Well, I'll say right now, to drain the swamp. The same thing President Trump is trying to do with the America First agenda. We have to stop with trying to be an interventionist. We have to understand our GDP to debt national ratio, which is at 137% right now. The $60+ billion that we just dumped into Ukraine, that should have been dumped back in the United States to secure our borders and try and start investing in our factories, our refineries, our production facilities. And so, we have to protect our children from this predatory prey manner that exists in our school systems. We have to stop our military from training things like CRT and pronouns and start getting back to increased lethality and readiness. And let me tell you, I am fully prepared to go ahead and reinstate all the benefits for those military members who are purged out of our military because of these unconstitutional vaccines. We need to get back to medical choice, medical rights, freedoms, and the rights that our Constitution stands for.
Cory, I know we're seeing a lot of voters now shifting towards the right, the Hispanic population, even some moderates that are parents who say, you know what, I deserve to know what's going on in my kid's school. I deserve to have a say in what's happening in the classroom. How do you appeal to those voters in your state who are maybe middle of the road? Maybe they voted for Joe Biden. What's your messaging there?
Well, I'll tell you, I think everyone who goes to the gas pump becomes Republican real quick, especially when they realize that this is something which is controllable. We had energy independence. We had 100% of our special petroleum reserves at full capacity. We weren't reliant upon Russia and China the way that we are today. We had supply chain that was actually, working. But, there's a lot of things that we need to fix here, Jen. We need to make sure that we ban foreign ownership of our farmlands, understanding food security is related to national security. We have to understand and start publishing things that actually don't violate state rights. I'm a big 10th Amendment state rights guy. But I intend in my first 100 days to pass a publishing house bill that actually holds publishing houses accountable, McGraw-Hill or any of the others, who intentionally distribute pornographic and inappropriate materials into schools. We're going to make it a felonious offense, and every single board member needs to register as a sex predator because we have to protect our children. As a father of 2 boys, I will do anything to protect my children and ensure that when I go, I have a freer, safer, and more prosperous nation for all my kids and my future grandchildren.
Well, I know you have the eyes and ears of all the parents out there in saying that. And Cory, before we go, something that I love, you pledged to donate 100% of your congressional salary to charities that support struggling women, children, and veterans. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, the whole thing is that for far too long, congressional members get elected, they enrich themselves through, not just their salary, but the buying, selling, and trading of stocks by themselves, by their spouses, by others in their offices. This is why we need to stop what is going on right now with the corruption in D.C. We need to stop both on the left and the right, the buying, selling, and trading of stocks. We need to ensure that it's not about enriching yourselves, but actually getting back to public service. When our founding fathers went to serve, they weren't there to make a career out of this, which is why I believe in term limits. And so my whole intent is to give back to my community and to get back to what it is to actually serve the people.
Well, I know you said you'll fire Pelosi, you'll work to fire her when you get to Washington. Maybe you'll even give her a ride back to San Francisco. We know we don't want her husband, Paul, doing it. Cory Mills, thank you so much for your time tonight. It's great to see you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Jen.